Yes, it is a Tuesday with Tyler Rush Hour. Special LeSean McCoy. Tyler Rush Hour. We're getting close to the start of training camp for the Philadelphia Eagles and pretty much anybody in the NFL. But it's a countdown to camp, essentially, I guess we could call it. As this is, it's just a few days left in the month of July. It's hard to believe. We're getting, some hot weather here in PA coming up this week. But anyhow, certainly the dog days of training camp are coming for the Philadelphia Eagles. And what is perhaps, I think about it, it's the stakes couldn't be any higher this season, so it seems. This seems like maybe the most important Philadelphia Eagles season, at least I can remember. Maybe you could argue, maybe ever. It's important on many levels. You look at it. It's year 3 with Chip Kelly. If you think so far in the Chip Kelly era, year 1 obviously was the stakes weren't really high at all. It was basically, this rookie NFL coach with no NFL experience coming in, no pressure there, and then year 2, obviously bringing back Nick Foles after his 27-2 season. And, I think if anything, maybe the pressure was a little more on Nick Foles in that year 2 than maybe you could argue with Chip Kelly. But now, after last season not making the playoffs, despite having to win that last game against the New York Giants, even though the Eagles were mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, still at the end of the season, 10-6. At one point they were 9-3, and they were, obviously after beating the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. They were in command of the NFC East, and then after losing 3 straight, as things would have it, the Eagles would miss the playoffs, regardless of whether they won. They would win that last game against the New York Giants, and of course, they did, which was absolutely pointless. But, and maybe, it's one of those things where maybe it would have been the difference between the Eagles picking at pick number 20 in the NFL draft. Maybe it would have been 16 or 15 instead. But that's I guess we'll never know. Maybe how that could have perhaps factored into getting Marcus Mariota. I don't know. But the bottom line is we have Sam Bradford. And that's obviously, that's the focal point here of the stakes being so high this season, because obviously you got Mark Sanchez. And you know what? This whole idea that, Chip Kelly brought up that, whenever he brought it up, I don't know if it was like a couple months ago, I guess, or something like that, but bringing up how, it's going to be an open competition for quarterbacks, and that doesn't make any logical sense whatsoever, because you brought, you re-signed Sanchez for $4 million or whatever, and you bring Sam Bradford over, who's making $13 million, almost a a typical franchise quarterback salary there. Maybe not quite, maybe a little lower than, but nevertheless, 3 times plus more than what Mark Sanchez is making, and you mean to tell me that this is supposed to be an open quarterback competition? I don't think so. That doesn't make any logical sense. If Bradford was making $4 million and you re-sign Sanchez for $4 million, then maybe it makes that makes more sense. But when the value difference here with Sam Bradford making 13, that doesn't make any sense. But I guess that is what it is. The bottom line is Sam Bradford. We know what Mark Sanchez is at this point. We saw, he started off, I guess, with a bang a little bit when he had to come in for the injured Nick Foles. But after a while, I mean, we saw, we kind of saw his limitations over time play out throughout the latter part of the season after Thanksgiving and everything. You start to see that Sanchez is, at the end of the day, he didn't reinvent himself or anything like that. He's I guess a decent backup quarterback in this league. And like we saw last year, I mean, he can be serviceable for a few games. He's not your ideal starter to lead the team to the Super Bowl or anything like that. He's a serviceable backup, and he can be inconsistent, obviously, and we could go on about that, but Bradford is a little more the question. I mean, our hope for progress, I think, in the quarterback position really rests on Sam Bradford in two factors, and that's really obviously the focal point of why the stakes are so high this season. Because the question is, all right, well, Foles, I guess, is not our quarterback after last season. Sanchez, again, serviceable backup, but he's not a franchise quarterback. We couldn't get Marcus Mariota. So, the question is, can Sam Bradford be the franchise quarterback in this season more than ever? I mean, he's playing with 1 year left in the deal. It looks like he's going to try to, in a sense, kind of pull a Jerry Maclin and try to prove his worth here with 1 year on his deal. And the question is, I mean, we could go, and as far as stakes goes, I mean, we could go down the list here because let's not forget, I mean, Chip Kelly turned over more than a third of the roster this offseason. I mean, he made all kinds of moves, obviously. We don't need to go through through all the long list of free agency moves, but I think overall, free agency was a success, and I think they made a few improvements on defense, especially in the secondary, which we needed help, which was obviously the biggest position of need. As far as the running back position goes, with LeSean McCoy replacement, with obviously DeMarco Murray and Ryan Matthews, the offensive line, I guess, sort of remains a bit of a concern right now, but I mean, who knows? It'll be interesting to see if DeMarco Murray and Ryan Matthews, I don't know, maybe this whole theory of more straight ahead backs, and the question is, can Ryan Matthews stay healthy, and can DeMarco Murray, after having a lot of carries last season, the heavy workload, running for over 1,800 yards, can he continue to produce? Can he continue to run the football at that high level that he was running at last year? Now, I'm not expecting the kind of repeat of a workload that he had last season. I mean, he had, I don't know what, it was nearly 400 carries, which was by far and away more than, I think LeSean McCoy, if I'm not mistaken, had the second most carries. I think he had like 312 or something like that. DeMarco Murray, he got a lot of touches last year, and the question is, can he continue to produce, or did he get chewed up and spit out, and will he hit a wall? I don't quite think he'll, I just don't think he'll suddenly be unproductive in, average 3.5 yards a carry or anything like that. But I wouldn't expect him again to get the same amount of carries. So, sharing the workload with Ryan Matthews, I think is, an ideal fix for the running game, I guess. And I don't think I don't. Well, actually, we'll share a little update momentarily on the Tyler Warner show here. This new, I guess, weekly thing now. Kind of getting back into the groove here a little bit with football season. I mean, we're gonna, here in Philadelphia, we're gonna breathe football, pretty much from here on out. Football season is very much upon us, and that is, certainly good for sports talk. We're gonna breathe football, here on, and that's the bottom line. We're gonna be, talking about the moves that they made in this extremely important season for the Philadelphia Eagles, for Chip Kelly. Again, all these moves that have been made, and getting back to the quarterback position especially. I mean, Sam Bradford. I mean, it comes down to two things, I think, right now. Obviously, one of them is, can Sam Bradford hopefully come back and obviously not get hurt once again. Not, and it's not just, the ACL tearing that again. It's not just, but just staying healthy in general. I mean, maybe will he get rid of this injury bug or whatever, just be able to play. I mean, or at least, maybe not necessarily, avoid a season-ending injury like an ACL tear, but, I mean, even if say he misses a few games, I mean, as long as he plays, decent or whatever, we'll see what he's made of here, with Chip Kelly. If this is the guy, that Chip Kelly's telling us, we brought him here instead of, Nick Foles. That's on Chip Kelly. I mean, Chip Kelly's got all the power now, really. I mean, we saw what happened in the offseason with the front office and everything, and Jeffrey Lurie, and, we don't need to go over that again, but it's basically Chip Kelly bringing Sam Bradford here. He's worth the risk, the re-injury risk. We believe he's going to be healthy. He's going to have a more full recovery this time, yada yada, and he's going to be better than Nick Foles, apparently, is what he's telling us. Now that's question two. Question one: can Sam Bradford stay healthy, stay upright? I mean, if he misses a few games again, I mean, you got, Sanchez. It's one thing. If Sanchez got hurt or something, and then suddenly you were either going to Matt Barkley or a guy named Tim Tebow.
Our God is an awesome God.
That's obviously a different kind of drop off than if you're going down, the depth chart to Sanchez. I mean, that's, and we, joked about this before, last season. If Sanchez were to go down after Nick Foles was down pretty much the rest of the season, that was a big fear. God forbid we got to go to Matt Barkley and pretty much, I guess call it the end of a season there. But anyhow, question, again, Sam Bradford. Question one: can he stay healthy? Question two: is he going to be able to, I guess, be the ideal quarterback for Chip? I mean, again, he's not Marcus Mariota. He's not going to be running read option plays after, he's not the prototypical Chip Kelly quarterback. But there may at least be some things that he can do, obviously, that, maybe Foles couldn't do. Maybe he has a little more mobility. Chip Kelly believes he's a very accurate quarterback. And, I mean, I don't know. I mean, his time, obviously, with the St. Louis Rams was not very successful, obviously. Some would say he didn't have a lot of help around him, but then again, at some point, you could argue that, well, if you are the real deal, I mean, at some point, you got to, at least if you're the real deal as a quarterback, you got to do something. But between getting hurt and everything, I guess that something didn't happen. But anyhow, question 2: Can he come here and be the franchise quarterback essentially going forward? Can he be the? I mean, I'm not I don't see him suddenly surging through the ranks, through the top 10 QB list or whatever. I don't see him cracking the top 5, getting up there, behind Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady or anything like, getting that kind of territory. But he could be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, look at Joe Flacco, for instance. He, the past couple seasons, he's maybe he fell down the chart a little bit, but that one season when the Ravens won the Super Bowl, I mean, he was a couple years ago. He got very hot in the playoffs, and for a brief amount of time, it was as if Flacco was a top 5 QB. Now he came back down to earth a little bit, and maybe now he's, I don't know, 10, 11, 12. Maybe we'll go. Maybe in the coming days here on the Tyler Werner Show, we'll go through a top 10 QB list, or maybe step it up, go top 20 or something. As they did have, they got the Madden NFL game ratings coming out, the NFL Network, and they got top QB lists coming out as we're getting close to the NFL season. So maybe do that for fun as always. But at the end of the day, I mean, Sam Bradford, I mean, obviously can he stay healthy? That's question 1. And question mark number 2, I mean, is he gonna, as long as he does stay healthy, he starts this season, is he gonna succeed here, or God forbid, I guess, is he gonna crap the bed? I don't know. That's question 2, and that's obviously the focal point here, because if say Bradford does crap the bed, or if he can't stay healthy, then what? There's no answer at quarterback, really. You'll be entering year 4 next year. You won't have a quarterback. Mark Sanchez, again, a serviceable backup, but you don't have the ideal quarterback to lead this team to the Super Bowl or whatever. The ultimate goal here. That's the bottom line. And that's it's a harsh, I guess, reality to imagine, but if Bradford flops, essentially that's what we're looking at year 4. We don't have a quarterback going for, we don't have that franchise quarterback. And then, because by year 4, this season, and I guess by this season being so, maybe I ought to define what that might entail. I mean, you can't, the way I look at it, you can't not win a playoff game this year. I think that's the way you got to think about it. I mean, I'm not expecting them to necessarily, I guess, make it to the NFC Championship game. I mean, we'll see how things play out. I don't know who. I mean, right now, between the Seattle Seahawks and the Green Bay Packers, I don't know who is gonna this coming season. I could be wrong. I mean, maybe the Carolina Panthers, maybe they get hot or something. Who knows? I mean, it's rare that the two teams that were in the NFC Championship game the year before make it back once again. I mean, it could happen. I guess chances say it's very rare that does happen, but nevertheless, it can happen. And I mean, the Eagles. I mean, again, I believe if I had to, pick today, I would say that they're going to win this division. The Cowboys, the Giants, I know are going to be right there, I'm sure, but I think, I think the thing with the Cowboys, they're without DeMarco Murray. I think that defense too might get a little more exposed again. I mean, Romo, I mean, obviously was able to stay upright last year and, behind a great offensive line. I mean, that offensive line, we'll see what they can do. But, running back wise, I don't know how they'll fit. They can't. I don't just think that they're going to be, without DeMarco Murray, I don't see how their running game will be as good as it was last year. But I don't know. We'll see how they get by. And again, you're another year with Tony Romo and his. I mean, if we could stay healthy, that defense, again remains to be seen. If they get, if they kind of get exposed like they did the 2013 season, I mean that, and then the Giants as well. I mean, obviously, Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be a star in this league, I'm sure, for years to come. But other than that, I mean, defensively they seem a little thin, and I don't know. I just don't see. I don't see them being a world beat. I don't see them winning the division, but they'll probably be right there in the mix towards the end of the season as well. But I think the Eagles now have the legitimately the best defense in the division. Again, the secondary has been improved. They've improved a few positions, and they got young pass rushing. Fletcher Cox. Guys that should be. Vinny Curry. I mean, there's guys that Benny Logan. I mean, they're going to be on the upswing this year, and I think their defense is pretty solid. Solidly improved, and it'll be interesting to see. Interesting to see how the offense goes. You got Nelson Aguilar now at wide receiver. As obviously is going to be one of the featured receivers, you would think here, the focal points on the offense, going through the time, and then Jordan Matthews. I would think he's going to be maybe more of the focal point on the outside. Josh Huff, I mean, we'll see. He's kind of the wild card, I think, of the offense. He had some struggles in his first year. He showed some flashes of speed here and there, but see how he comes along maybe in year two. And then, I think Riley Cooper and Miles Austin are behind those guys. As far as wide receiver goes, and running again, I mean, the offensive line concerns me a little bit. I mean, Jason Peters, this might be his last year, so already you might have to think about replacing him. And again, I mean, Evan Mathis, although he was getting up there in age, and it may have been time to think about, starting to, I guess, get some new guys in the mix there. I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how the offensive line holds up this season. And obviously at quarterback, I mean, Sam Bradford, how prepared is he going to be to lead to be the starting quarterback for this team? It'll be interesting to see. And the running game, again, I think should be pretty solid. I would think that, with the whole straight ahead back theory and everything, Chip Kelly's going to try to, Ryan Matthews and DeMarco, maybe do some more two back sets, and Darren Sproles. I mean, again, I mean, later last season tells, in the fact that they have DeMarco Murray and Ryan Matthews now, tells me that Sproles is more a glorified special teams guy for the most part here. They might still use him in some screen passes. I don't know. I mean, I don't see a whole lot of use with him on the offense, I guess you could say, and whatnot. But returning punts and whatever. I mean, I don't know. Chris Polk, I mean, as far as might be the odd man out here as far as running backs go. But anyways, questions. All the moves Chip Kelly made in the offseason. Again, there's so much on Chip Kelly's shoulders. Again, so much pressure. I mean, and again, it starts from the quarterback. That's the number one most important thing of any football franchise, the quarterback. And if Bradford turns out to be mediocre or worse, he craps the bed or whatever, or he's just once again has another major injury, can't stay healthy, then pretty much you have Sanchez and that's not even. I mean, that's maybe a top 32 quarterback in the NFL. I mean, then again, he's a backup. I mean, I don't know what other starter out there you really would take Mark Sanchez over. So that just goes to show you that the scary quarterback situation that may await if Bradford does not pan out this season. And that's looking towards year 4 of Chip Kelly. But we'll wait and see. Now, speaking of Chip Kelly, I mean, we'll hit a commercial break coming here. Apparently with Chip Kelly, and I don't know how it has taken this long to come out, and this was from the Washington Post a few days ago. I don't know who's heard of it or not. I mean, I'm sure if you've turned on some Philadelphia sports radio, or maybe a national radio show, considering that Chip Kelly is such a national attraction, I guess. Apparently, I don't know how Chip Kelly was apparently married for 7 years at one point, and it seemed as though nobody knew about it until it was only kind of reported recently. How does
it's crazy? It's crazy. It's crazy.
How does that happen? I mean, it's and only now we find out, and it's as if like Chip Kelly is, I don't know. I mean, maybe looks at it as a failure or something, and I don't know, wants to pretend it never happened, or I don't know. I mean, I understand. I could imagine that a marriage, I mean, a lot of people have divorces and whatever, and I guess you get over them or what. I mean, I'm not in that boat or anything, obviously, but I mean, I had a 4.5-year relationship. Maybe that's not a 7-year marriage, but I know that when things like that end, or so, I mean, I guess you kind of feel like you try to take some kind of failure and some kind of blame, or I don't know, you feel like you failed in some way. You want to try to, I guess, make up for it in the future. You try to build off of it or something. And I just wonder that the fact that, and supposedly there were 250 guests at the wedding, this chip, and I just can't believe that it's this, that it remained this like anonymous, I guess you could say. I don't know how you want to word that, but that it's taken this long, I guess, for it to really come out that Chip Kelly was apparently married for 7 years. And it seems as though in this day and age, as big of I guess, national star in the sports world as Chip Kelly is becoming, I find it hard to believe that in this day and age with Google and everything, Wikipedia, whatever, that it has only really come to our attention now. I don't know. I mean, again, it's nothing to be ashamed of, I guess. A lot of marriages, I guess, fail or whatever you want to say, or end in divorce. It's not like it was a 1-year marriage or something. Again, I just wonder if with Chip Kelly, I mean, it's like he really had to, I don't know, pretend it never happened or whatever. I mean, I know Chip's all about his football and whatever, and I've heard rumors of how his house is just it's undecorated. It's just furniture, and he's just so absorbed in football, and that's it. But I mean, I don't know. It's just I don't know how to look at that. I guess it was an odd story, and really at the end of the day, I don't care what is. It doesn't affect me one way or the other whether he was divorced. I don't really, what does that matter? But it was just an interesting that he would be so determined, I guess, to keep that under that the guests that were there, that it's just been kept under wraps like that. I don't know. But speaking of under wraps, I guess you could say before we hit the commercial break here, I mean, LeSean McCoy, speaking about talking about under wraps. I don't know if those listen, if you haven't checked it out the other day, the Tyler Warner show call out of the week, obviously one of the highlight segments of this show, especially about a year now. It's probably the 1-year anniversary, perhaps, of the Tyler Warner show call out of the week. Actually, if I think about, I believe maybe it would have been last week. I remember the first Tyler Warner show call out of the week was the week when Cliff Lee farted in a press conference and asked if the reporters got it on tape and whatever else. But anyhow, the other day, again, I mean, this is kind of old news, but the LeSean McCoy private event celebration or whatever, where he invited, well, here, if you want, go back, listen to the call out of the week from the other day. This, the picture of the advertisement where LeSean McCoy or whoever he had design it on Paint Shop or whatever, using the Buffalo Bills logo. I mean, he approved it, so that's the bottom line. But using the Buffalo Bills logo in the image here, and it's just like, that's so idiotic. What are you thinking doing that in the first place? Now, and it was in, of course, the private event celebration was, I guess it would have happened the other night, I guess, and would have, supposedly, I mean, if anybody has heard any news or any updates, I mean, I haven't heard anything yet. Who knows? But, I haven't heard anything really as far as what happened, but I guess what's the matter with you? Just to piggyback with LeSean McCoy, after, of course, the team told him, all right, you got to take this Instagram post down. You can't use the Buffalo Bills logo. You can't, and I'm sure that probably ticked off some teammates and amongst others within the organization and whatnot. But I mean, I guess that's Buffalo's headache to deal with. Again, it's just like a lack of common sense there. But then again, I mean, with what we've seen in LeSean McCoy and recent, the past year especially, this stuff is just kind of becoming standard with LeSean McCoy. Now, I guess to piggyback from, or progress or whatever from the call out of the week from the other day, the whole thing, this came out yesterday. Then his he responded. This is what LeSean McCoy had to say about his females only party. It was initially, clearly, it said females, you'd send pictures to whatever it was, LeSean McCoy shady event something at gmail.com, an extremely long Gmail address that was not easy to remember, obviously, off the top of my head. But apparently around the time the party had been set to start the other night, McCoy sent out the above note on Instagram. Since the media and internet took my before camp party out of context, I had to switch up my party strategy. So tonight I'll be inviting everyone to my back to business party. Back to business party, I guess is what he... Featuring DJ Donald Trump on the ones and twos. Special invited guests. At Rex Ryan. At Chip Kelly. At Roger Goodell. My man Barack. I guess, assuming Barack Obama.
It's an outrage.
Anyways, Oprah, Carly Lloyd, and even that terrible waiter with the awful service from the burger joint is invited. See, and it's just that I'm halfway through it here. Do I want to keep? I'll just wait. I'll just go through the rest of it, and then I'll. Anyways, quote: "Don't bring your ID because there won't be any alcohol anyways. Open smoothie bar all night though. Don't worry about the confidentiality agreement. No only, I'm assuming that's not only our ladies invited, but everyone is invited. Except Hulk Hogan. He can't come. Maybe even at Meek Mill and at Drake will hit the stage together. Turn up time, party time." Alright, so that was, turn up time, party time, that was,
Let's make some noise, come on!
Yeah. I mean, this, again, this was just, obviously just, who knows if this party went down at all. I don't know what is going through this guy's head. But, again, obviously the whole reference to Chip, special get at Rex Ryan, at Chip Kelly, at Roger Goodell. I mean, and the whole jab there with the we're not gonna have any alcohols, but we're gonna have an open smoothie bar all night. It just goes to shit. This is like a jab here at Chip Kelly, and then the whole thing with the awful service from the burger joint. That terrible waiter with the officer. First of all, that 20-cent tip. See that? Because that's one of the things. That was one of the distractions in the season that kind of came up. And LeSean McCoy got called out for it. And it's easy to know, to see why he got called out for it. I mean, my theory on that, being somebody who's worked in, a few different restaurants, as far as tipping is concerned, if there's, for some reason, on as big of a check as however big the check was, if for some reason you feel that you are not earning the kind of service, if service is shoddy, you ask to talk to the manager or something like that. chance, whatever, poor service, whatever. You talk to a manager about it. You try to, I don't know, I guess, bridge a gap there with the problem. You try to, come to a compromise, whatever. If you feel that on that big of a bill, they only deserve a 20-cent tip, that's a sign of horrendous service. So that means maybe you talk to the man so things can be made right. You don't just say, oh, well, I'm LeSean McCoy, I'm going to leave a 20-cent tip or whatever. And I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I don't think anybody really disagrees there, but there's further reason, I guess, not to disagree with that. And if for some odd reason you do, I guess voice your opinions on the comment on the channel section or facebook.com/Tyler Werner Show and send a comment there. I don't know. I hope if there are any Buffalo Bills fans listening out there or whatever, I hope I hope LeSean McCoy's, well, I don't really care. What do I say? I hope LeSean McCoy, I really don't care one way or the other. But you know what I'm saying. So I don't know. Again, if anybody knows anything about this part, I mean, it was funny. I brought this up a couple times. I brought it up in the call out of the week in about almost 2 months ago when LeSean McCoy was called out by me again for his, snub. I don't know what you want to call it, but I guess sticking it to reporters when they were asking him to comment and clear up some things with the whole racist Chip Kelly remarks and everything. And LeSean McCoy refused. I've brought this up multiple times now about this autographed LeSean McCoy picture, and I mentioned earlier on I said, all right, you know what? Is anybody at this point? Because I interned for the Preston and Steve show on 93.3 WMMR here, in the Philadelphia area. For those who don't know, and I'm sitting there and listening to Preston read this this new LeSean McCoy's new party sounds fun, and I guess these supposed amendments to the party and everything, and I'm just I'm like, all right, this really, at this point, I mean, this is just ridiculous, and I don't know, what is
what, enough
going through this guy's head.
Enough.
Kind of a half joking, half serious post. I just, is anybody interested in an autographed LeSean McCoy Eagles picture? Opening bid $0.00. But I don't know who, like, I wonder how much someone would be willing to bid on that for eBay. I might. Now, for one thing, it was a meet and greet with LeSean McCoy several years ago, and of course, my buddy Matt Walsh, who was on the show, he made a few appearances during the spring semester this past spring at Kutztown University to talk, the LeSean McCoy trade, the Sam Bradford acquisition, and stuff. Yeah, he chimed in a little bit. Was it obtained from his females only party? And I said no, it was from this Berkshire Mall signing in 2011, 4 years ago. This was well before the baby mama drama, and really, this was in the middle of his, second season, and again, that was before all the drama and whatever else, but I don't know. I think if I remember correctly, I paid $40, and I stood maybe 2 hours in line one day after I worked, and I guess that at this point, with all the things have gone through here with LeSean McCoy and whatnot, I think I really don't think there's much value in this picture. And since it's not like I have a certificate of authentication and whatever else. It's really just, it's a picture that sits here somewhere. And I might try to, even though it's not, that there's no, certificate of authentication, I might just, just for fun, put on like, hey, this is a picture of, just to see like how people are at most bidding $1 for it, and because really, I mean, I was thinking about this. So how much is it really worth now? Now he's now a Buffalo Bill. Yeah, he's the all-time yardage leader for for the Philadelphia Eagles. What am I going to do? Cartwheels over that? I mean, I don't. At the end of the day, it's just all water under the bridge now. At the end of the day, I mean, it's not like he helped, lead the way to any like playoff victories or anything like that. I mean, he was a productive back for the most part here during his time. He was a weapon, but with all this drama, all this, sour grapes, especially in recent months, and just these silly things like this with Instagram and Twitter and baby mama drama, 20-cent tips at a burger joint and whatever else. It's just like, it's like exasperating. It's like all the interest has been sucked out here. And, and I guess, the value but, I guess take a little bit of heat off LeSean McCoy, as far as this post. Wayne said, I want to, Batman Wayne, was checked in the show. He was called in during the spring semester towards the end of it, and is checked in on Facebook, of course. And, he said, well, I want to give away my Hulk Hogan action figure and Bill Cosby album. Opening bid is also $0.00. And, yeah, and it's just like, I mean, LeSean McCoy, with LeSean McCoy, it's mostly like stupid little, it's a bunch of stupid things like this. Now, you look at Hulk Hogan and Bill Cosby and some of the recent, fire that they're under, I guess you could say, it's, a different story. Maybe those are more, national figures rather than a local sports figure, I guess you could say, and now Buffalo Bill. But so that's a different, I guess, scope of it too. But I'm sure, maybe on a slower day, maybe when there's, there's time, who knows? Maybe we'll have to bring them up a little bit. I know Preston, Steve, and MMR have been, I've been there, working the, help working some of the show, and they've been some focal points of some comedy bits in recent days at there. So who knows? But that's pretty much that with LeSean McCoy. Again, I guess we'll continue to keep an eye out, see how this whole thing is with, I don't know, this party, if it happened or if it was a joke. I don't know. I mean, who knows? I mean, if anybody sees any pictures come up, I don't know. Did they have I wonder if they had a big cake there that was decorated, with red, white, and blue, and the Buffalo Bills logo. If they had any of that there.
What a whoopie fire fudge there.
Yeah, something along those lines. I don't know, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I think this was kind of just a farce. I really how would it go from a women's only party? You gotta be 21 and over. Send us your pictures at this so and so at gmail.com, whatnot. I just don't know, and I guess it remains to be seen if that if it's legitimate or not.
I just think somebody owes us an explanation. That's all.
I guess we'll wait and see. I don't know, but that's pretty much that. We roll on. Again, he's not LeSean McCoy. He's not a problem anymore, I guess, to worry about. And I mean, he was he was for the most part a productive guy in the field, though. I mean, but I guess between the money, again, it was I will continue to stand by. It was a combination of things here. It was a combination of Chip Kelly didn't want to pay him $10 million for his production. Maybe some of this goofiness factored in as well. This whole culture thing. I mean, I heard a story. I don't know what the truth was. If it was true, or it was a few months ago. That supposedly this past season that at one point LeSean McCoy. I don't know if it was about to throw a punch or something, but I don't know how the truth to that, but clearly there's a butting of heads there, and so I guess I'm not totally surprised here that LeSean McCoy is gone after all this, and I can kind of see a combination of factors here that essentially brought an end to his career, at least here in Philadelphia. And I don't know. I mean, some would say that when we brought Tim Tebow here, that the circus came to town. I don't know. I mean, the way it sounds like Buffalo Bills. They might be getting a circus of their own over there, by the looks of it. But anyways, get in on this circus at facebook.com/Tyler Werner Show and post a thought on this very important Philadelphia Eagles season. I mean, obviously, more important than the first couple. In some regards, the most important Philadelphia Eagles season in, I don't know, maybe ever. I don't know. Send your comments on facebook.com/Tyler Werner Show. That's the Facebook page. Or, leave something at the YouTube channel as well. The Tyler Werner Show YouTube channel. One way or another. You certainly get your thoughts through right here in the podcast. As we move through training camp. Well, we move towards training camp. We move through the days leading up to training camp right around the corner. This has been, Tuesday rush hour. What do we call it? Tyler's Tuesday rush hour. For your listening pleasure. As you, I don't know, move through the day on Tuesday, move through traffic, whatever it be, flip on the podcast, listen to some sports talk. We're getting close to training camp and Philadelphia Eagles football again. I don't think I could be any more excited than I am right now for football. So we'll come back whenever we, more football talk. So, this is rare that we do an hour straight like this, pretty much. But nevertheless, we did about an hour, about commercial free. About until now. So it's been the Tyler's Tuesday. I still can't get the name right because it's new, but Tyler's Tuesday rush hour is what we're calling it. We should see. I guess how this goes. We got more things to talk about this week, though, so stay tuned for more video postings here on the channel.
Okay, Rocco, pretend I'm the girl that you want to ask out on a date.
How about maybe you and I, maybe we go out together, get something to eat, I don't know, maybe laugh a little bit, who knows, you know? I don't know, would you like to maybe, you want me to go out together? What do you think? Would you like to?
You need to make more eye contact and you sound way too nervous.
You want to hear me say it? You want to break me down? All right, I'm afraid. For the first time in my life, I'm afraid.
Having a tough time asking out ladies? You need to see Clubber Lang for a lesson.
Hey, woman. I bet you stay up late every night dreaming you had a real man, don't you? I tell you what, bring your pretty little self over to my apartment tonight, and I'll show you a real man.
Build confidence with the ladies like never before with Clubber Lang's dating services. The most highly recommended in all of the Delaware Valley.
I am ranked number one. That means I'm the best.
Number one box office attraction, number one WWE superstar, multi-time WWE champion, Brock Lesnar.
Time to revamp your office space, eh? Looking for an interior decorator? Look no further than Brock Lesnar.
Now that's the way a real man uses a sledgehammer.
Out with the old, in with the new. Give Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman a call.
Mr. Lesnar, you're the future of interior decorator.
Well, we're done.